Resellers are gonna make mistakes. Learn from them and you'll have what it takes. In the world of reselling, we're your guy. With flipping ain't easy by your side.
Well, hello everyone. Welcome back to the channel. Happy 4th of July, everyone. Hopefully you guys are hanging with family, friends, and at least getting away a little bit from the whole reselling gig. I guess not if you're here with us, right? But one thing, you know, it's like, what do I talk about on the 4th of July? And then I start looking at some of the things that I look at. In this particular case, valueaddedresource.net. Go check out Liz Morton's hard work. But she had reported on part of this big, beautiful bill that was signed literally like 15 minutes ago. Was signed 15 minutes ago by the President of the United States. Now, first of all, let me just say, this is not a political program. We're not going to get political. We're not going to chant USA, USA. We're not going to say down with USA. None of that stuff. This is not what this is about. This is just about talking about real things that affect real resellers. And the signing of this bill, in the signing of this bill, it did revert back to the $20,000 threshold and the 200 item or 200 transaction threshold for any given platform, meaning that you can make $100,000 this year and only have 150 transactions, and eBay will not, at least they're not supposed to, submit a 1099-K in the year 2025 towards, to the IRS. Now, let me also caveat this, that we talk about 1099s and the threshold, whether it's $600, which a lot of people feared it was going to be at some point, whether it's that or what it is now. And what it is now is, I'm not sure if it's something that could be revisited, but we should be reporting our tax. I'm not here to lecture you on your taxes either, but just in general, just to know my stance on things, we should be reporting what we earn. This is our business, this is our job. And whether you make $5 or $5 million, it should be reported, and that's on you. So I'm not here to talk about that either, whether who should be reporting it and who shouldn't be. Ultimately, it's about eBay's reporting that we're talking about. So whatever you do with that is what you do with that. But now eBay, Poshmark, Mercari, PayPal, these other entities, these third-party processors, they are only supposed to submit a 1099-K if under one or two conditions. The first condition being now $20,000 and 200 transactions, or if your state has a lower threshold, and then that'll automatically trigger the 1099-K. So if your state taxes has a lower threshold, maybe it's only $5,000 or whatever it is, then that doesn't matter. You're in that state, and a 1099 is going to be issued to the state, and it'll probably go to the IRS as well. So just something, and I'm not a CPA. I'm not here to give tax advice. I probably wouldn't do you any benefit if I did try to give you tax advice, but just wanted to start the discussion. Now, what's going to happen because of this? Now, I think there's going to be, I would think, as a result, there's going to be more resellers that are going to think, heck, I don't have to report anything. Now, this is just the mindset that people have, depending on, regardless of how you feel. But there's going to be more people that are going to be now more willing to put their items up for sale because they don't have to worry about being put in another tax bracket in their mind. That's the reason why people either stay or leave because of this situation. People were talking, and we were talking about the $600 threshold. People were leaving the reselling market, the reselling game, because they knew that they were going to be forced to have to report. I mean, that, if we're being real and honest about it. And I think the fact that now the bar is so much higher that someone is doing this to supplement their income is going to look at it as, heck, I can do this, and no one's gonna report me. So I think between that, and then we had the discussions previously about these AI programs that are going to be putting more listings up. We need to get our game together as resellers and really understand that market share is going to be a little bit harder to get with the same customer base. Now, could you say that maybe more sellers will equate maybe more buyers in the buying pool because these sellers may decide to buy on eBay. Who knows? Maybe, but I don't think it's going to be at scale. So if you increase, let's say these things that are changing here in the between this change and AI and all that stuff to make things easier, the entry level so much easier for people to sell their items. If you see an increase in 20% in listings, let's say to be conservative, are we going to see an increase in 20% in buyers? And I just don't think that that's the case. So I want to know what you guys think down below. We're probably not going to have as long of a live stream today. I did put out a video this morning talking about the changes that are coming the end of the month, early August for eBay, for a few different things. Go check it out when you get a chance today. I thought it was a pretty good video. Some things that involve like the tracking process for buyers and sellers and how we can view it on eBay, and more information for buyers is always a good thing. Used clothing, the different categories, we've talked about that before, but we talked about it when eBay really didn't have really a secure definition. Now they have not only a secure definition of the different, pre-owned excellent, pre-owned good, pre-owned fair, and what they require you to do. So I cover that in the video as well. So just go check it out if you get a chance. I try to make it a point to get on these topics as soon as I can, and to try to give you the best information that I can. I'm not always perfect, but I'll do what I can. So want to know what you guys think about all these things, and hopefully you guys are having an excellent 4th of July. So who do we have with us? We have Joe Samard. He checked in with us first. We have
volume slow.
Again? Mm-hmm. Hopefully it's not too low. Hold on, guys. I've got to do it better.
It's a bit low.
Just a bit low. Maybe a little bit higher will do. Well, hopefully you guys heard me okay. I think it's fine now. I don't understand what's happening with my computer, but I guess it's one of those checklist things that I'm going to have to do before I jump on the live. I have it all figured out. I was ready to go, and I didn't think about the volume because I had set it on Monday, and I haven't set it back. So Joe Samard's with us. Nice to see you, Joe. John Gaynor says, 3:40 p.m. Eastern Time. Everyone must be on vacation if I'm number 2. And you were here quite early, so that's really awesome of you, John, to be here with us. John says, I watched your shows you had from your garage, and no wonder you need a golf vacation, a few rollers, and you'd become an Amazon part 2. Yeah, that's a good point that you had mentioned the rollers, and I responded to your comment. But at some point, that might be the way to go, to ditch the plastic racks. We had these plastic racks that are like $60 each, and replace them with the ones that, like in a rolling system, to where I do need a path out of the garage. So maybe I can just roll them when I'm not working and create that path that I have right now, but it'll create maybe another rack or 2 worth of space for inventory, because I do need to grow, and growing, of course, you need the space to do that, and that's kind of where I'm at. I'm going to try to keep up with the market. If the market's going to grow, I'm going to try to grow my store with it. I'm at 317 right now in my store, so 317 items. And what I'm going to do is, in order to ensure that I'm still scaling at the same average sale price, I'm going to take so I'm at 317. I'm going to take like the lowest 10 items every time I get to that next level. So at 300, I'll get a little bit past 300, and I'll take 10 of my lowest price items. I will end them and put them on the other store. So then I get to 400, like 415. I'll take 10 of my lowest price items at that time, put it on the other store. So I'm constantly building the number of items in my store while ensuring that I'm not cheating. And so I've got to do that today. I'm going to take my 10 lowest price items and just put it on the other store. Let's see. We have Keith with us. Nice to see you, Keith. Nice to see you and all the awesome FAE folks. Keith says, I have had a busy week and still got a lot of work to do. A lot of new signs going up at the unit, and e-waste set up and changed some things with intake and processing e-waste taken on member staff for the teardown. So you have some help. That's good. That's good. Makes it a little easier. Let's see. Also, the new site is underway for the business with Google Shopping and AdSense going into place. So you have a new, is that Shopify that you're doing? Or is that, what is that? Another, it has to be Shopify, right? If you're making a site. I'd like to know more about that. I'd like to really know about your AI, to be honest with you, and how do you hook a brother up here? You know, it's like I'm sitting here wanting to create some drafts and waiting for the good commercial ones to come out, but we're still waiting on that one. And yeah, would love to try yours out if you could. Let's see. Keith also says, focus on business growths on the e-waste side of things and processing for precious metals. Yeah, I have a neighbor. He was outside, and he's like, yeah, man, I just came across at a work site. They had a bunch of these wires, and I'm getting the copper, and I'm selling the copper. I'm like, yeah, make the money. It's like, okay. But I guess there's a lot of money in that. Mike Metco says, hi all, happy 4th of July. I hope everyone is exploding with sales on this Independence Day. Yeah, we've got the pulled pork in the smoker, got the cowboy beans in the smoker. Cowboy beans is essentially baked beans with some sauteed onions and bell peppers, and then you add some bacon and ground beef with, and then just season it just right. Throw that thing in the smoker, get a little of that smoke on it, and there you go. Pulled pork sandwiches and that, and maybe I'd probably do the corn another time because I totally spaced out and didn't put the corn on. So by the time we're done here, it will be gearing up to eat. So hopefully you guys are either have already eaten, because what 4th of July is a 4th of July if you're not doing a barbecue. Kevin Hawthorne's with us. Nice to see you, Kevin. And Mix Mercantile says, hey, John and Jenna, happy 4th. Happy 4th of July to you.
Happy 4th.
Joe Samart says, I hope you made it through the big storm the other day with no problems.
Yeah.
It's a weird one.
It was very strange, and there was a lot of damage around town, but nothing over here.
So Coppercat says, happy 4th, everyone. No sales today, but the neighbor brought me over a plate of barbecue. Meat was so tender. For me, that's a win. There you go.
Awesome.
Nothing like a good summer barbecue on the 4th of July. Now, sales are kind of weird for us here too. And I'm going to go back and circle back around real quick to the topic at hand that we're talking about, because I want to show you the article that just to verify this isn't a trust me bro moment. It's not just me pulling the rabbit out of my, it's real news. But here's what we're doing right now with sales. $200 day today. Yesterday wasn't so hot, 167. But yesterday it dawned on me, my markdown sales had ended at the end of the month, like on Sunday night, and I didn't renew them. So Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, I didn't have a markdown sale. Now, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, I had decent sales, but I think you get that with when your markdown sales end, you still get decent traction, and then after a while, it kind of just flattens. So I added the markdown sales. I did a 6-month worth of markdown sales that are ending and starting every 2 weeks. So we're going to hopefully build that up some and get back on track. For the year, this is the segment of the show where I show you where I'm at for the year on the main store. So we're at 67,746 in sales. We're still up over last year by 1.4%. And by me increasing the store and building that store, I'm hoping to stay above that mark. We are down in the number of items sold, 882 items sold this year, down by 10.9%. And ASP is still rising, $76.81. Maybe I can get that to $80 by the time we're at the end of the year. And by me taking out the $20 to $25 items, that will also help, I think. So that's kind of where we're at. So we're going to circle back around to the article that Liz put out here in just a second. So to talk more about the threshold that is retroactive, guys. And I don't know how that's going to work out. Many people were given a 1099K based on the $600 threshold or the $5,000 threshold, and people filed. And if this $20,000 and 200 transaction was in place this entire time, then they they wouldn't have filed, right? But I don't know how you can unwind that. Once the IRS knows you made that money, there's really not a way to take it back. In fact, if anything, maybe it puts them on the radar that you are a reseller, and maybe they're expecting you to report from here on out. I don't know. I'm not an accountant, but maybe there's something to it. We have Christopher Nutter with us. Nice to see you. Pat Rose says, hey, nice to see you, Pat. I did say hi to Mixed Mercantile, right? I think I did earlier. Flip of Goods with us. And we have Gretchen says, happy 4th. Henri Squaw says, howdy, John, Jenna, and chat. And Casey, New York, happy 4th, everyone. Gretchen says, we love this country. Yep,
Yes,
we do. God bless America, happy 4th.
Yes.
And Mick says, I still pay my taxes. And that's a good man there. Callie Debs says, hi, John, Jenna, and chat. Happy Independence Day. Nice to see you, Callie Debs. You look years younger.
I don't know how.
The power of war paint.
Yeah.
I think the Indians may have done the war paint to look younger, not necessarily to look fierce. Who knows? But let's talk about, before I get slapped, let's talk about the article by Liz Morton. Trump's big, beautiful bill promises 1099K relief for online sellers. Now, she had updated this yesterday, and we figured that this was going to pass yesterday evening, and it was just a given. He was going to sign it. He had a ceremony about a half an hour ago to sign this thing. It says the new law has also finally given shippers a definite deadline for the end of the de minimis exception for imports. That's another thing. I'm not going to talk about it in this video. But with the House, they've passed it under the current law. Third-party payment processors like PayPal, Venmo, Cash App, as well as marketplaces like eBay, Etsy, Amazon, and more must issue Form 1099K to payees receiving gross payments exceeding $600 for goods or services, regardless of the number of transactions. The change in reporting thresholds is supposed to take effect following the American Rescue Plan. That's the $600 thing. But now, however, after repeated delays in implementation, the IRS announced in November 2024 that it was going to be $5,000 for 2024, $2,500 for 2025, and finally down to $600 for next year. But that has changed, because she put that could all change if this is passed. It was signed into law today, and we can talk about this is all worded in like Greek almost with this lawyer legalese speak. But in general, Section 6050WE is amended to read as follows. Exception for de minimis payments by third-party settlement organizations, so that's TPSO, which is your eBay, your PayPal, your Poshmark, your Mercari. A third-party settlement organization shall be required to report any information under subsection A with respect to third-party network transactions of any participating payee, that's you, if the amount which would otherwise be reported under subsection A with respect to such transaction exceeds $20,000, and, that's the key word here, not or, and the aggregate number of such transactions exceeds 200. So, again, if you make $100,000 and sell 199 items, or not items, but 199 transactions, then you shouldn't expect to receive a 1099K. If you sell 1,000 transactions and only make 19,000, then you're not going to receive a 1099K. Effective date. The amendment made by this subsection shall take effect as if included in Section 9674 of American Rescue Plan Act, which means it's superseding that act that's already been passed. This, importantly, this change will not retroactively impact 1099K reporting for the 2024 tax year, but would raise the threshold for the 2025 year and beyond. So they're not going to go back and unwind that, send the IRS an updated form, because you can't put the toothpaste back in the tube at this point. IRS already has been reported for 2024 tax year, but the current tax year is going to be reported based on this law and not previous laws. The legislation would only apply to the federal 1099K reporting requirements. Several states have their own laws with lower thresholds that will remain in place. So if you're in one of those states, those laws will apply. And just because you may not receive a 1099K, that does not necessarily mean you won't have to report or pay taxes on any income made through the e-commerce sales below the $20,000 threshold. And contact your CPA and get more information on that. Now, and I ran this by AI. AI says the same thing, so it's really nothing to. I just wanted AI to kind of read the legalese before I came online, just to make sure that I wasn't tripping and that I was reading it properly. So I don't know. Is it good news? Is it bad news? Is it something? Because look, for me, it doesn't affect me. I've way exceeded 200 items or 200 transactions and $20,000. Been paying my taxes. Been doing all those things. Is this going to encourage somebody who is on the fence of reselling to say, you know what, it's not going to hurt me. It's not going to hurt me. And I'll go ahead and list now that it's not going to put me in another tax bracket technically. Craig Winan says, hello, everyone. Nice to see you, Craig. Sherman says, bad sound again, but we fixed it. I'm sure we have. Again, that's going to be on my checklist for next time. So I apologize, Sherman, and thank you for staying with us and hanging with us. Will Meek says, what tax year does this go into place? This one, the one you're currently on, 2025. Honorary Squad's taking today off. That's a good idea. Christina says, happy 4th, everyone. Nice to see you, Christina. And John says, your computer problems is because you bought it on eBay. No, I have Windows 11, and Windows 11 has been acting this way. Whenever there's an update, it kind of defaults your settings back to a certain setting, and we're just going to rock with it, and I know where we need to be for next time, and I need to know what to look for, and I'll be doing that for the next show. Craig says, catching up, you only need to report taxes if you're over the minimum amount of taxable income to report it. So if 20,000 is all you do, it may not be enough to report, but still, I don't know that. Check with your CPA to make sure that that's the situation you're in. Jackie Bleckner says, hi all, I keep missing the lives, but you didn't miss this one, so nice to see you on the 4th. Biscuit Butt was just here. He came over to the house. He was in the area picking up some items, and we had a little debate, a friendly little debate. I'll kind of share with you here. But happy 4th to you. Sherman Volkman says, Zeely AI. Zeely AI. I've never heard of Zeely AI. Josh says, happy America Day, everyone. From the representative of the soon-to-be 51st state, Josh Galt. Nice to see you, buddy. Samantha says, happy 4th of July. John, Jenna, and FAA viewers. I'm going to be listening, moving about my room. Have great sales. Enjoy the weekend. Jenna, you look marvelous. I want to thank you, John and Jenna.
Well, thank you.
Well, thank you. I appreciate you, Samantha. Sherman says, don't eat the beans around the campfire. There will be no campfire tonight. It's too windy anyway. It makes me wonder, we're going to have a lot of illegal fireworks going off around us, right? We're not setting any off, but we're probably going to go take some chairs and sit out and take a look at all of it. And I just wonder, with it being so windy today, how that's going to work.
I don't know. There was a fire in the trees last year, so I pray that, because it gets really wild around here, really wild.
Like a war.
Like literally, it sounds like a war zone, and it doesn't stop until like 3 or 4 in the morning. So I have to drug my dogs, because they don't like it at all.
So Keith says, it's my own site, not Shopify, as Shopify still can ban you if you don't do things their way. But I still believe, though, that Shopify is much easier to deal with than, say, eBay or Amazon, where they're not restricting you so much. Maybe they'll say you can't sell certain types of items. That's understandable. But, it's like like your metrics. They're not going to ban you if your metrics are a little off. Maybe. I don't know. But I would think that probably not. They're going to allow you to set those standards. Tess cooks for you. Nice to see you, Tess. And you guys notice this? Real quick. We don't have the handles. We have our names back again in the chat. And it's nothing I did, because I looked it up. I tried to fix it. I think there was a glitch going on with certain channels on YouTube. So hopefully that's behind us. Tess cooks for you says, good evening, everyone. Sales have been slow this week. Making some changes this month. Working on incorporating some videos in descriptions. There you go. John says, Chinese getting ready to go on a cruise. Can you believe it? Lori and I are going on a cruise. That is news to me.
One.
This is my shock face.
I swear you just got off the boat.
You're going to get sick of cruises. Here I am.
I
I don't know anything about a cruise. At some point in my life, I'd like to go on just one. I hear that it's a fun experience, but we'll see. Samantha, thank you for this chat. I appreciate it. Everyone, enjoy the evening and be safe. Yes, be safe, everyone.
Yeah.
Keith says, my AI had to get developed to do some tweaking as a couple glitches cropped up that was kind of bugging me. Well, I'll be glad to beta test it for you if you need a beta tester. Flipping from the trailer says, hello all, sales have been bad. Hoping this will help. Well, I know one thing that'll help. Hit the like button, guys. We sent out the positive vibes to you. You get the sale within the next 24 hours. So there it is. And it worked for so many people. I know we had Todd on the last live. He's a big beneficiary of hitting the like button. It's almost every time he shows up, he hits a like button, he gets a sale. But it may be right now, this weekend could be one where people are just focused on having fun, out and about, barbecue, fireworks, and eBay is just not, buying stuff is just not top of their list. So hopefully that improves over the weekend. Pat Rose says, I've almost all my store on 40% off, 2 sales. Wow, 2 sales. So I would say, Pat, if I'm feeling like, I've lowered my prices and I'm still not getting sales, I start looking at maybe the items in my store that, go through your inventory and say, wow, why is this still here? Why hasn't this sold? And now I'm starting to go and do searches on that item to see what other people are doing. Is it selling for anyone else? And then if you find that it's not, well, there's not a whole lot of demand for that item at the moment. And if they are selling for other people, try to emulate what you see other people doing. And it might be your title needs to be tweaked, your photos, maybe your gallery photo needs maybe you need a different one there. So just something to look into. David Pentland says, hey, John, Jen, and chat. I hope you're all well. Well, nice to see you, David, from Scotland. And thanks for hanging out with us on the U.S. Independence Day. Keith says, I've seen a lot of people saying sales bad. Mine have been, but it's my fault. Has been busy with other aspects of business, not paid much attention to eBay. Yeah, the amount of involvement you give your store, not necessarily just listing, but the amount of involvement you give your store can make a difference. Like me totally spacing it on the markdown sales. Well, I'm sure that there's a little something to that as to why the last day or two we've not really done a whole lot. And that's on both accounts that happened to, by the way. Todd, there he is. Howdy. Is this where I come to learn reselling? No, this is where you come to just kind of confirm that you know enough to be a good reseller and hit the like button to get your sale. John the Automator says, happy 4th, everyone. Nice to see you, John. Michelle R., thanks for covering the new tax law. Well, you're welcome. It's I'm searching for what can I talk about? Because that's the toughest thing as a YouTuber, especially when you put out a lot of content. And then not even knowing this new legislation, because it's such a big bill. I mean, I didn't know that resellers were impacted by this thing. And to know that we are affected and how many people were panicking about this, for the last year and a half. Like last year, a lot of people were like, I can't resell if this is going to happen, and I understand where people are coming from when it comes to that. But I just wonder now if that's going to encourage more people who had now last year wrote off reselling because of the tax law, who are now going to just be like gangbusters. And we're now, there's more people to compete with. The legislation, whoops. I'm trying to read here on something. The legislation would apply immediately, and it says retroactively. Again, if anybody's a CPA, I'd like to know what that even means and how that's going to work out. It's one of the things I read that didn't make sense to me, because I know you can go back and refile and amend your taxes, but the question I have for anybody who knows more than I do on this subject, how does that work for somebody who either didn't file and or did file their taxes based on the threshold that was in place? Craig says, listed a tiny Stuart Anderson service pin, 1,000, small diamond for $50 last night. This morning I had 11 views, one offer of 25 and sold for the $50 asking price. Okay, so not 1,000, but 1 carat. Okay, 1 carat diamond. Got the $50 asking price. There you go. Now, I'm glad you mentioned that, because Archie was over here, and he was saying, yeah, I keep getting these offers on these items, and I got this guy lowballed me $20 on a $55 item. Now that ain't so bad. Now if it was $5, I would be like, that's a low. That's, if you want to call it a low ball, that's a low ball. And I said, so what are you gonna do? Oh, I'm gonna block him. I'm not gonna deal with that. I'm like, but wait. I mean, why don't you at least show the algorithm that you're interacting with the buyer? Because there's been many times that I have come back with a buyer with a counteroffer, and while they're dilly-dallying getting back to me, and maybe they never get back to me, but I get a sale for full ask from someone else. I really do believe that you're showing the algorithm that there is an interest in the item when you're bartering back and forth. So I think, and maybe you guys can tell me what you think on this, you get a low ball offer and you go and decline the offer versus just playing the game. You know, maybe that 1% chance you can talk them into your price or something close to it. Is it worth messing with? He doesn't think it's worth messing with, but for me, I think any opportunity to interface with the buyer is a chance to get a sale. That's the way I look at it. Patrick Trotter, let's go. All my income is now considered tips. Yes, but I think up to a certain amount. Again, go check out the bill. But I think only a certain, and overtime, I think too, it's not taxable, only up to a certain amount. So then after that certain threshold, then the tips do get taxed. Craig, 10K gold, not 1K, so 10K gold. Okay, that makes more sense. Jet Fixer says, happy 4th, everyone. Took a bunch of friends and family to the water park today. Pretty strange that there are no lines at the restrooms. That sounds fun, a water park. But my ass would fall off the water slide.
Yeah, you are not the water park kind of guy.
TreeCat's with us. Nice to see you, TreeCat. Happy 4th, John, Jenna, and FA community. And there's some exciting things coming with TreeCat. If you haven't checked it out, the link is in the description box down below. In my opinion, it is the best looking, best performing. You have the end item sell similar. They call it delist, relist, however you want to put it, where you can schedule that out. They have the AI auto population when you're going in and you're trying to fill out the fields and you're cross listing with Poshmark and Mercari. That's the current ones that they support with eBay, but they are going to be expanding, and there's a lot of exciting things coming that I cannot wait for. So go check them out, and you only pay as you go. You don't pay a monthly fee. You pay as you sell, and that's the important thing, because you're not making a lot of sales. Why do you want to pay up front a certain amount of money every month? Becky says, no sales so far today. And that's that's why I'm not getting so worried about my sales at 200, because it's kind of the expected thing with the holiday. So we'll see how the weekend pans out. We've got Craig, Landshark Picker, with us. Thanks for being here. Hero and Hands Me Downs.
That's Biff Boffo.
Is it?
That's his photo.
That is. So he is now a Hero and Hand Me Downs. Says, I'm going to sell, I'm just going to call you Biff. Biff, I'm going to sell all my items for $1 and just require a tip to make up the difference. No taxes on tips. Callie Deb says, I could hear you very well right from the beginning. No sound issues at all. Okay. Maybe someone was watching a video before me and theirs is a little louder, but I promise that we're going to set it at a certain level on my computer. I know exactly that level that makes you guys happy. It's going to work. Biscuit says, extremely low ballers are not serious buyers and a waste of time. That's what he told me. But how often do you get a chance to do one of two things? Interface with a potential buyer, and two, in my opinion, you guys can put this on the list of things that could be debunked, reseller myths, but your interaction with the buyer does, I believe, it does help you within the algorithm for that item. For that item, I'm a firm believer. Too many times I've had send offers on an item, and then I go to bed, and then I think that person bought the item. No, it's someone different. They bought it at full price, and it just has happened so many times that it's not a coincidence anymore. And for me, I'm going to put out my best price. And if they're willing to take it, maybe they're in the last try. There's been many times someone's tried to play that back and forth Poshmark game with me. They get down to the last try and they're like, hey, man, I really want this item, but, I can't afford but this. And then I'll look at it. Well, look, I'm not a charity, but But if it's been sitting long enough, because I don't do offers on my items until it's been listed for 30 days anyway. So if the item's been sitting long enough, maybe I can make a little bit of money, get my initial investment back from that, and sell the damn thing. Jovial says, happy 4th FA fam, off topic, but having a heck of a time getting the pH balanced on the cement pond. Wondering if it's because of the Saharan dust plume. Anyone else having issues? In any suggestions?
Saharan dust. Huh?
I have no idea what you're asking, but maybe somebody has an answer. I don't. I'm not qualified. Biscuit Butt says there was a fire.
Sahara Desert?
Biscuit Butt
Is
says
she dry?
I'm not qualified. Biscuit Butt says there was a fire at the Cromwell this morning. Ah,
Oh.
interesting. I wonder if that had to do with any kind of illegal fireworks.
I doubt it.
Levi Perkins says I did 28,000 my first year, so never would have did anything for me at 33 this year. It's great for people on SSI resell and make extra money, though. Congrats to them. But let me ask you, Levi, did you sell 200 transactions? Because even if you sold 28K, you're doing 33 this year. If you don't have enough transactions, it's not going to be reported. So maybe that won't affect you. Beard says, may the 4th be with you. Yes, happy Independence Day to you, Beard. John says, cruising is like Lay's. You can't have just one. The potato chip. Mm-hmm. Not anything else. Not Jovial. Don't respond to that. Biscuit Butt says, once you go on one cruise, you'll always want to go on a cruise. But I just want to try it. You know, if anything, nothing else but for the endless food. I don't need endless food.
That's the only reason he would go.
Beards is telling people to hit the like button. You'll give them a sale is like stealing false valor.
No, it's not.
Ask Todd. It's worked for him so many times.
People.
It works.
Yes.
Now, false valor on the YouTube side is seeing that it works when people do it on this channel and then trying to copy that on other channels. I'm not saying your channel, but there's other channels that try to copy that. And yeah, it doesn't hit the same. Pat Rose says, I did my inventory and almost 13% were no longer listed. And I'm willing to bet most of you watching, I can't say all, but most of you watching, if you haven't done inventory in a while, you probably have a good number of items sitting on your shelf that no longer have a listing attached to it. It's disappeared for some reason. So it's always a good idea. Twice is probably the most ideal to go in and do a full inventory. Maybe you have too many items, so maybe inventory half your store, and then the next 6 months inventory the other half. Biff says, yesterday was my worst day of the month. I think it was a getaway day since today begins a 3-day weekend. Also, who knows what eBay tried to rush to push live before the weekend.
Yeah.
And I saw a lot of traffic yesterday, like a lot of people driving around, and it's like, man, people must be trying to get out of town today. Keith says, go on a cruise in the English Channel like the Bay of Biscay. You won't want to go on a cruise again. Probably too cold. Callie Deb says, my sales have been better than last year, and that's the goal, right?
Excellent.
How do we improve year over year?
Yes.
Todd says, sales are very good here. $9,000 on a 31-day chart, 4 hours a day reselling. I'm on fire. You're killing it. You're killing it. So keep killing it. Jenna's like totally not killing it with the buttons today. She's like
Distracted.
Bachelor Brad says,
Bachelor Brad.
happy 4th of July in his own way.
Maybe you can go
Happy
find a
4th.
firework that'll light up your life.
Huh?
I don't know. Stupid.
Are you being stupid?
Yeah.
Are you taking one from my book?
Yeah.
Brando B says, happy 4th. Taking down low demand items definitely helped me. You told me to try it, and it definitely worked to boost up sales a bit. Also, switch to one-day handling. Thank you. You're welcome. I love to see that. It works for somebody. Now, look, my advice isn't going to work for everyone. Some of you guys have tried my advice, and it's not worked because we don't sell the same things. We have different situations. I don't even know if Brando sells the same things that I do, but I sell a wide range of things. And what I've noticed is you take those items down. They're slow-moving. They're low ASP items. You take them off this store. You put them on another store. They seem to do better on the other store. Like they're at home with, your items are feeling like they're, in the company. I mean, it's a stupid analogy, but you have higher ASP items in one store, lower ASP on the second. and keep stripping your main store from those lower ASP items, and you're building your floor of, maybe at some point I'll get to $50 as my lowest item. But all the while I'm building my store, it's helping me. So I'm glad it's helping you as well. John says, instead of sales, I look at my profits. My sales are down, but my profits are way up. And the only way that can happen, though, if the number of sales are down and your profits are up, you must be selling higher value stuff. It's the only way it can happen. Or you're getting better deals on, your cost is better than it was on those same items. Retroactive, back to January 1st, 2025. That's what I thought, but Grok was telling me something different. But I don't know how that would work and how that would pan out. Todd says, Chartier, the goat soaper is doing good. Yes. And John does have good goat soap, guys.
Yes, he does.
It's the softest, silkiest goat soap you'll ever use. And he's not sponsoring this channel. That's just the truth.
It's just real facts.
Patrick says, standard deductions also increasing the bill. Also increases the deduction by $750 for individuals, $1,500 for married. That is good. I think that's good. Any deduction you can get that you didn't have before is going to help. Tommy Z, thank you for the live today. My favorite YouTube reselling couple. Love all the hard work that goes into your channel. Well, thank you. I appreciate you. And half the battle is us, getting in front of the camera. The other half the battle is you guys putting up with us. So thank you for
showing up.
Thank you for being here. Central Iowa Picker, longtime listener, first time on live. Thanks for all the information. Part-time seller, selling about 50,000 gross a year and retiring in 2 to 3 years. Will be a nice addition to the retirement. Yes, I love that. Well, thank you for watching. Thank you for being the first time on the live, and don't make it your last. Come on and hang out. Biscuit Butt. He said Pete knows more than you.
He does.
It's an inside joke. Yeah, that is a true statement, though.
That is a true statement.
It's an inside joke, but it's a true statement at the same time. Pat Rose says, going back to my 40% off sale, I had 28 items looking for offers. I took another 5% off. Maybe that will work. It could hurt, right? If a buyer is looking for your item, they sort your search by lowest plus shipping, and that extra 5% bumps you up somewhere in that ranking, then certainly. Biff says the tax law can be retroactive because you are always supposed to report your income, regardless of receiving a 1099-K or not. No 1099 does not equal no reporting. Yeah. Let's see. I bartered only taking $1 off my asking price. Yeah, and he's like, he's now coming, because I talked him into sending an offer. I think I talked him into it, and the guy came back and he's like, I'm going to send him now one that's only $1 off because, this guy's not serious.
Well, you're just wasting your own time doing that.
But it's like we get our feelings out of it. It's a business. Let's get the feelings out. It might irritate us, but let's take the irritation away. It's just part of the way it is. I don't want to irritate somebody at a yard sale. And the analogy I gave was, okay, you're at the end of the day, it's 1 o'clock in the afternoon, they're about to pack up at the yard sale. They have an item that's marked at 55. You know what? Take the shot. Will you take 20 for it? What's the worst they're going to do? Say no. They might come back and say, but maybe I'll take 30. That kind of thing. Maybe this person is just trying to get a deal like everyone else. Patrick says, not funny if the water park water turns yellow. Very suspicious, no lines at the restroom.
Yeah.
Yep. We don't want yellow water slides, and we don't like yellow snow in the winter either. That's no good. Happy Reality, Passion Happy, is there still a $600 report? As of now, for 2025, the bill has been signed, and that means that it's now $20,000, and you have to have over 200 transactions, whether it's PayPal, whether it is, like for instance, I do business on PayPal, okay? Last year I did quite a bit of business on PayPal through transactions and stuff, B2B business transactions. I didn't have 200. I still report it, but there's not going to be a 1099 kicked out this year. Keith says, if I get a low ball offer, I counter with what I want. If they still come back with lower offer, I raise my counter higher than the last one. Mm-hmm. Yeah. I mean, Some people do, I guess. I mean, if anything, yeah, okay. We're sending a message to the buyer that you've lowballed me. If you keep lowballing me, I'm going to keep raising my price. And if you want to do that, fine. The very bare minimum you're going to get out of that is the interaction with the algorithm. I'm a firm believer in that. Todd says, took down 50 listings today. Got to thin the non-sellers. Yeah, you got to get every bad item in your store has an impact on your store's conversion rate. So the idea is to build that number up. Build it up. And how do you build up your store's conversion rate? Well, every item pays, has a role in what that number is that you have. And the items that are just sitting there for months on end is going to bring down that number. So why don't you get rid of the lowest performers? That's a great idea. Archie Pitko, that's what I did to appease Jonathan.
Oh, he used the legal name and everything.
You don't have to appease me. You can do whatever you want with your
Yeah.
business, Archie. But I just try to help. And when I see emotions get involved in the business, it kind of just makes me stir crazy. Duncan says, sellers ran a priority campaign for a week, got $100 in sales and $6,000 in ad fees. Happy cicadas and crickets. And we sent a screenshot to you on the Discord. Those of you who are on the Discord can check it out. We were at the movies on Wednesday. Went and saw 28 years later. Kind of weird, but nonetheless, it wasn't the worst movie we've seen. And we were playing a slot machine, these crazy chickens or whatever it was, and I hit this payout, and it had a bunch of buckets of KFC chicken on it.
It was so funny, and we both look at each other and we're like, "Oh my God, Duncan!"
So I said, before the screen goes away, because it was paying me, right? I said, before the screen goes away, take a photo and send it to the Discord for Duncan. Keith says, silver hair, I've been doing the same. I cleared 2 racks of dead stock today, went to scrap, got money released back into the pot. There you go.
Nice.
Love it. Get rid of the non-performing stuff, guys. I'm telling you, it's going to help your store's overall performance. And that could be the difference between a slow-performing store and one that actually starts getting more sales by trimming the fat off of your store. Biff says, I no longer identify as Biff, but that's the name I assigned myself, so I'll have to live with it. It's definitely easier to say. So how did you get from Biff Boffo to Hero and Hand-Me-Downs? What's the story behind that name?
Is that your store name?
Paul Rose says, hi, John, Jen, and chat. Just dropping in to say hello. Still full on for me. No struggling with the 11 p.m. to 1 a.m. slot. It's not personal. Loves you. Well, no.
We love you.
We chose to have the later time slot. This is what works for us. And, we're just blessed that you guys out there, whether it's Duncan at 7 a.m. or you guys at 11 o'clock, midnight, take the time to just come by and say hello and hang out with us. Means more than you'll ever know.
Yeah, we hope you're doing good, Paul. Well, I do anyway.
Todd, I do too. Darn it. Todd says my pull is fine with the salt converter and regular cleaning.
Oh, you have a pool?
Yeah, that's nice. That's nice. Forget the fireworks. That's what I'd be doing right now. John says hit the thumbs down. You get 2 sales while Scott's show is live.
Scott is not.
Why would you hit the thumbs down twice on Scott's show? That's not right. I would never say that to Scott or about Scott's show. I love Scott's show. It's just not right. Keith says, how things going, Paul? The 40-year-old gamers, so did it go from 5K last year to 20K this year? Well, it was going to be, according to this report, it was going to be 2,500 this year. 5,000 last year, 2,500 this year. But this new bill that passed wiped that out. It's now $20,000 and 200 transactions, whether it's Mercari, Poshmark, PayPal, eBay, you name it. It has to have both, not one or the other. John says there are many things to profit for a business: labor cost, overhead, advertising prices. Yes. And I think that is the beautiful thing about selling online. Our overhead is so minimal as compared to what it's, John, you know all about that. But I think there's people here who don't understand that, to giving eBay anywhere between 13.25% and in some cases upwards of 25%, depending on how you're promoting, maybe 30% for some people. It's still not as high as you'd have to pay if you had a lot of overhead. Craig says, I will hit the thumbs up only if Todd will promote one of his listings. That has nothing to do with me. Maybe go to his live, because I know Todd does lives. Promise him the thumbs up his live.
But crack of dawn.
Daisy, happy 4th of July.
Daisy!
Thank you for being here.
Happy 4th.
Yeah. Keith says, Paul, yeah, I get that hectic for you too at the moment. Todd says, Craig can take a long walk off a short pier.
Oh,
wow.
no.
That's how much he's against promoting. I've tried to talk Todd into promoting. He just won't do it. And if I was Todd, I probably wouldn't do it either, because he doesn't need reselling. I mean, it's nice. It allows him to do some of the thing, but he's already good. So why give extra money if that item's going to sell eventually? Me, I'm trying to get the quick flip. I'm trying to get my items in and out as fast as possible so I can reinvest that money. So it's a different mindset. Ping G says, hello, John and Jenna in the chat. Happy 4th of July. Nice to see you, Ping.
Happy 4th, Ping.
Land Shark says, guess I better be nice to Todd. Is blue. Yes.
Yes.
Brando says, I sell some similar items as you, but you definitely have better high dollar items. My motto is, if it sells, I buy. I have everything from printers to old lady home decor. And there's nothing wrong with that. Nothing wrong with that. I didn't have these kind of opportunities until I found them. So I think there's a lot of opportunities. What we don't know, we don't know. So if you keep looking, there's a very good chance that you will find an opportunity. I guess we're going to have, Scott is going to go live tonight at his normal time, 5 p.m. I wasn't sure if he was going to do it because I thought he was going to be outside, with his whiskey, checking out the fireworks, but I guess not.
He lives in the middle of nowhere.
Yeah, but they still use fireworks out there. Pink says, hey, the numbers are gone from our names. Yes. The birth dates are now gone.
Not birthdays.
John says, send an offer back $1 over your asking price and say, okay, we both can make stupid offers. Can we make a deal or not? There you go. That's better than decline. Mm-hmm. Paul says, even missed Primo on Wednesday, not getting time to split, frankly. I mean, look, you gotta figure out your prioritize your time. If that means cutting out YouTube, that's what it means. Because at the end of the day, we don't do this for free. We do this reselling gig because we're trying to make some money. Duncan says, my clicks are down 34%. It's been a rocky couple of weeks. Lots of crickets, 500 cicadas, and 750 inads. Well, that would be part of it if you have that many inads.
And 1,000 KFC orders.
Yes. Maybe you should do the Uber Eats to supplement until your sales come back and just take KFC orders. That's probably what I would do. Keith says, John and Jenna, you both are a fountain of inspiration and you never gloss over anything. You're transparent and say how it is for you and your experience, not false hope or false promises. That's what makes it real. Well, thank you. I appreciate that, and I needed to hear that for reasons I won't go into, but it means a lot to hear that because we do, look, we make these videos, and I am never going to try to be someone I'm not. I'm not going to try to pretend to be John, Grumpy John. I mean, the man is a world of knowledge, and he's been so successful in what he does. And I'm not going to ever try to be him. He's unique to who he is. I'm just going to be me. And that's all I can be, me. So Paul says, the Motley Cruise was fun. Miami, Key West, and Mexico, and Vince Neil and loads of 80s, 90s hair bands. Food was great and included.
Oh, that would be so fun.
The cruises do include the food. I think you have to pay for the beverages. So you want, and I don't drink.
Not
so
all of
you got to get like a drink
alcohol.
card. No, but like the soft drink or like juices and stuff. You got to get a card for that, I think. Duncan wants to know.
You can do it!
Yes, that he can do it.
He can do it.
John says, not true. Conversion rate is numbers sold versus clicks into listings. Yes, that's true. But if you have items that people are clicking into that are not selling for whatever reason, that number of clicks are empty clicks. Those clicks are not helping your conversion rate. And so it does help you to get rid of those empty items that aren't selling. At least move them to a store that you're not trying to build. Like my second store, we're building it. But, if it makes me an extra $100, $200 a day in sales, then that's an extra $3,000 to $6,000 a month. Craig says, if your viewed items aren't selling, just remember this. When you mark down the price of an item on eBay by 5% or more, All viewers will receive a notice, yes, about the price reduction. That is absolutely correct. Keith says, Paul, mine's pretty much the same as yours. They want to do surgery on it, but I said no point.
Oh.
Surgery's no good.
Yeah. Honest.
Todd says, Archie is too emotional for sure, yes. And if you don't believe me, go on a ride along when he does the Uber Eats. But I reminded him of that today. Christina says, we're just heading to Zuma, taking the eBay beach tower I won 4 years ago on one of your live shows. Oh, the beach towel. Because I didn't sell a beach tower, but a beach towel we did give away.
Oh, yeah.
Awesome. Well, enjoy.
Have fun.
Yeah, that's cool.
Oh, that's cool.
Paul Rose says, happy 4th to all my American amigos. No hard feelings on behalf of our ancestors. LOL.
Yes, no hard feelings.
And no hard feelings against the Canadians who tried to harbor you guys back in the War of 1812. We don't forget. We forgive, but we don't forget. Silver Bushman says 20K, 20K.
20K.
And 200 transactions. Both, not or.
And don't forget that. It's and.
It's what it used to be. G. Gazzara says, happy 4th, John and Jenna. Happy 4th to you.
Happy 4th.
Killboy 2100 had 9 sales last night, took down a whole store of markdowns. Weird, right? I've seen it happen where you end a markdown sale and like a day or two later your sales are still hot. People talk about it all the time. I just thought, it's about time I have to go back in and put 6 months worth of markdown sales, and I just about 3 days late. Fort Knox, but James, the boring reseller, told me everything sells. List all the crap he says. But he has a different business model. He puts everything, and now I think he also splits his items into different stores, I think more by category, if I'm not mistaken. But by sheer volume, it works for him. He just makes it work. The 40-year-old gamer, wow, that's awesome. I didn't know that was in the bill. Yes, I didn't know until this morning as well. And that's good news for, I think it's good news where people don't have to worry about it. Now, look, again, I made my disclaimer at the beginning of the video, but if I'm being real about it, for a lot of people, that did turn people off of reselling that now don't have to worry about that. Big Dre says, cha-ching, niche store sale. There you go. Hit that like button.
Big Dre. Hey, are you around all that Texas flooding? I'm wondering.
Yeah, there's a lot of flooding out there. Be careful out there if you're in Texas.
Yeah.
Cape Cod Flipper, happy 4th of July, everyone. Quick question. Best way to get started to get rid of my death pile? Well, a couple things. If it's truly a death pile, you don't want to really mess with it, and you just want to get rid of it, one way is just to get on and start doing the whatnot auctions. It's worked well for a lot of people. But if you're just dealing with eBay, take a small portion of that death pile. Don't try to take on the whole death pile.
Yeah.
Get a tub, fill up the tub with, this is what I'm going to list today. Bring it in a different room and attack it. And that should help. And I think sometimes we look at a big pile or a big garage or a big attic full of stuff, and we don't even know where to begin, and it just becomes overwhelming. Excuse me. Thing. God. So you become overwhelmed by it, and you get sort of paralyzed. It's the paralysis by analysis thing. Where do I begin? How do I get rid of this stuff? Just going. This is what happened to me when I was getting pallets, and I was like, wow, I don't even know where to begin. And this is back in 2019 when I was really getting a lot of pallets in. And there were days that I just was so overwhelmed, I wasn't motivated to do it. And I said, you know what? Let's get a tub. Let's fill it up. Let's take it upstairs. Let's list it. And that's what I'm doing today. And that's how I overcame it. Julie Henley says, sorry if this is a dumb question. No question's a dumb question, right? And I used to tell you that. Mm-hmm. But is it 20,000 profit or sales? And happy 4th, y'all. It's 20,000 sales. Now, your shipping is going to be included in that number because eBay doesn't differentiate between sellers who do free shipping and those who do fixed or calculated shipping. I don't believe taxes should be involved in that number, that calculation, because you don't see it. eBay hands it off to the states. But the way it's always been, it's been sales, not profit. John says, Todd is not good. Dude needs serious help.
No.
Todd's a great guy.
Todd is great.
He's got the best hands in the business.
Mm-hmm.
Happy Reality says, yes, Windows 11 updates is the worst. Yes, it is. Here in the hand-me-downs, or Mr. Biff says, I borrowed the new name from a song lyric, but I'm not sure about keeping it. I'm still exploring my YouTube identity.
You can be whatever you want to be in YouTube
You're
world.
still Biff Boffo.
Yeah.
To us.
Yeah.
John says bye. Well, bye,
Well,
sir.
bye, sir. Tell
Get-
Lori I said hi.
Yes. And get on that boat and have a good time. 40-year-old gamer says, I don't promote items either. I find if you have a fast enough sell-through rate, it is not needed.
Yeah.
And you're right. If you and you know, it really is, it's all perspective. Are you happy with the amount of sales you're getting? I'm sure, because promoted listings, it doesn't guarantee you a sale. If you promote it 5%, 20%, or nothing at all, it's all about traffic manipulation. How many impressions, and in turn, impressions can create views. How many impressions do you want on that item? Do you need on that item to sell that item? Some items need a lot more impressions because you have more competition. Sutter's Mill says, Happy 4th of July. I'm wearing the exact same t-shirt as Mrs. FAE, but mine is red, not blue.
Oh, cool. Yeah, I
That's
wish
cool.
mine was red.
Beard says, it has been scheduled since Tuesday. I don't understand your confusion. No confusion. You're full of piss and vinegar today. I don't know what's going on with you. But nice to see you too, my friend.
No, he's not. He's his normal self.
He's full of piss and vinegar today.
He's always full of piss
I know,
and vinegar.
but more so today. I think someone put something funny in his potato salad. Duncan says, 100,000 KFC orders. Now you're talking.
No, that's bad.
That's not good for you. Juan says, Happy 4th. Last 2 days have been bangers.
Nice.
Paul Rose, Duncan, if you eat that stuff for every meal, sorry if of later you'll be clucked. Yeah, that's not good for you. Keith just retracted his
I
message.
know,
What
what the
happened? I was
heck?
about to click on it, and
I
it's like
know.
it didn't work. Duncan, so John, should take on my whole death pile and go. I can't do it.
You can do it!
If
You
that's
can
if that
do
works,
it.
what works for you, then go for it.
Alicia.
Alicia says I have 5% promoted turned on, and I get very little sales when promoting, probably because my items are not in high demand. Sadness. Maybe that might be it. So, have you determined if it is your items? And again, go in and find other people selling that. If nobody else is selling it, now what can you do? Maybe it's time to lot some of this stuff up and move it, and don't buy that stuff again. Hero and hand-me-downs. I do believe you can still list any old thing, but you have to price it like it's any old thing. I agree with that.
True.
I mean, people come along and buy stuff. If I list something that I'm trying to get $20 for, if I list it for $1 plus shipping, I'll sell it. But am I going to be happy with what I'm getting out of it? Probably not. Keith says it's now the 5th of July. It is for Keith. It just
Keith.
became the 5th.
Yeah.
But it's all the same. The 4th and the 5th of July is the same if you're in the UK. It doesn't mean a whole lot. Kelly says it's funny to hear people complain about having to pay taxes on $20,000 in sales. The amount you actually pay is pretty small. Yeah. I just, again, I think that my personal opinion is it doesn't matter if there's a document issued or not. We should be, going in and keeping track all year. Now there's programs that'll help do that. We are sponsored by My Reseller Genie. You could check them out. They allow you to go in and they'll do they'll pull all the information for you. You can see what your margins are. You can plug in a few things like your cost in an item, and they'll really show you through a graphical interface how your business is doing. Also, the link is down below if you want to check that out. Jovial says, have a happy 4th FAA fan. Be safe out there. And remember, thumbs are important. Yeah, don't blow them off.
That's true.
Yeah, don't do that. Alicia says, I need to do a better job at looking at sell-through rate, but that takes more time than I need to carve time out for. Take an hour a week. And an hour a week is better than not taking any time at all. You will go through and see, like, wow, maybe I need to list this differently, or maybe change some things in your store that will help you the rest of the week. Keith says, here in the UK, it's not illegal to avoid taxes, but it's illegal to evade taxes. Mm-hmm. Yes. So, guys, with that, we're going to end. Like I said, it was going to be about an hour long. The news, if you missed it, is that the big, beautiful bill that was signed in about an hour and 15 minutes ago, signed into law, now wipes out anything that we had to deal with before when it comes to the threshold, the reporting threshold. Want you guys to have an excellent rest of your week. If you can hear us,
We love you. Have a great weekend. Be safe. And God bless you.
Yeah, we're having some connection issues at the end of this. Don't know what it is. It's OBS Studios issue. So we're going to sign off now. Want you guys to have an excellent weekend, and we will talk to you here very soon.
Mwah!
Take care.
Chargebacks, returns, and lowball offers too. Zero takedowns, they're a pain, what can we do? High selling fees, bad buys, and rude buyers galore. Flipping ain't easy, but we keep coming back for more. All resellers are gonna make mistakes. Learn from them and you'll have what it takes. In the world of reselling, we're your guide. With flipping ain't easy by your side. Sourcing great items is the key to success. Subscribe to the channel and stand above the rest. Focus on the thing that is within your control. Hang with flipping ain't easy. Let's roll. Catch the live streams on Mondays and Fridays. Join the Discord community for the parlays. Tune into the podcast. Profit Playbook's the name. With Scott and Josh, flipping's more than a game. All resellers are gonna make mistakes. Learn from them and you'll have what it takes. In the world of reselling, we're your guide. With flipping ain't easy by your style. Catch the live streams on Mondays and Fridays. Join the Discord community for the parlays. Tune into the podcast. Profit Playbook's the name. With Scott and Josh, flipping's more than a game. Catch the live streams on Mondays and Fridays. Join the Discord community for the parlays. Tune into the podcast. Profit Playbook's the name. With Scott and Josh, flipping's more